Hey everyone, it's Mike Hendrix from SMB Golf. And today my guest is John McNair from JC Resorts. And this is the Tech Caddie Podcast. John, welcome to the podcast. It's good to hear from you.
Mike, great to be with you.
You're in sunny California. And so I'm in rainy Columbus, Ohio. So I'm already jealous coming out of the gates here. But for people that aren't familiar with John McNair in golf, like I am, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in the Midwest, where you're sitting right now in that area, and outside Chicago. My father was a golf pro at a golf course and general manager, and he was there for 38 years. So I started working when I was 12 years old, picking the range, parking carts, washing dishes in the winter. All the labor laws that California would not allow today to do something like that. And then got in the business side of things, played for a while, then got in the business side of things. And fast forwarding this discussion, I've been at JC Resorts for 26 years now, running their golf department. We started with 4 properties, and today we have 21. Mainly all of our courses are in Southern California with a high concentration in San Diego County. And I've also been involved with the PGA of America in our Southern California section. I've been president of their section. Actually had the honor of being our district director, sitting on the national PGA board of directors. And so, yeah, it's been a fun run, and it's been a great 26 years at JC Resorts.
That's great. And so you're humble. So you just were entered into the Southern California Golf Hall of Fame. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. No, it was quite an honor just very recently, a couple of weeks ago. So,
right.
Yeah, very special.
I mean, John, we typically don't have people on that aren't Hall of Famers, so we had to wait for you to come in.
Right. Yeah. Well, the good news is there was like 4 inductees, and half of them weren't alive anymore. So I'll take that as a win. Then. So,
Right. So I knew that you were from Chicago. I've visited with you at, I think it was Twin Oaks. I think I've been to and seen you out there. I was actually going through my phone this morning, and I have pictures from Twin Oaks from back then. But I don't actually know why you got from Chicago to Southern California. What happened there that moved you out of Chicago?
Yeah, so I worked as a kid and played through college. Then I went and worked half the year and played half the year. Then I played full time for 3 years. And then there was a course in Florida where I was playing out of that long story short, needed a head golf professional. I just went back into the operations side, was a golf professional at a course outside Orlando, and then had the opportunity to be a general manager in Atlanta, a place called Cherokee Run. Was there for a couple of years, and they promoted me to running their golf division. It was called environmental golf or Valley Crest Golf at that time. And so that's how I got out to California. And we took that from one course to 6 courses in a very short period of time, like in couple years. And then had the opportunity to come to JC Resorts 26 years ago, and here we are. So that's kind of how it all progressed, really playing and then just working hard in the business, the golf operations side.
And it seemed to me like your parents were probably pretty classic entrepreneurs, right? I mean, they owned the business, but they also like worked the business, right? I mean, they were all in on running that kind of classic small American business.
It was truly a family business. I mean, my dad was the general manager and head golf professional. My mom did the books and the marketing. My uncle actually, for a long period of time, was a superintendent there. And then my brother and I, like I said, we started working there when we were 12 years old, picking the range, parking cars, all that. And then I realized after a while, I got about 16 that, hey, that work outside in the maintenance crew, that's hot in the summer. My brother stayed in the maintenance crew. I think I was a smart one. I went to indoors into the golf shop and said, I'll work on the golf shop. So that Chicago summer heat. So truly a family business.
Chicago is an amazing golf market. I'm just guessing, but I would guess you guys cross paths with the Gem 6 occasionally in Chicago.
Yep. And Catherine and family, and Joe Jemsick, Catherine's grandfather. He's considered in many ways the godfather of public golf, not just in Chicago, but for sure in Chicago, but really America. He was the one that kind of first started that, and that's the name we've always given him. It's incredible family history there, and great people. And my father knew all that.
That is exactly how I think of the Gem 6. I'm very involved with the Ohio Golf Course Owners Association, and I've just recently started to do some work with the Pennsylvania Association. But it does seem like every state kind of has those stories, right? We have those families in Ohio too. We have the Powell family, Renee Powell, and the
Yeah.
story of it,
Yeah.
and we have the Kitchens in Springfield, Ohio, and we have the Snodes up in Northeast Ohio. Like
Yeah.
every state seems to have these families that have passed the course on from generation to generation. And I actually, that's kind of what draws me to that whole owner association vibe. I just think that those are awesome American stories.
No, you're right. I mean, every state or region has that, absolutely has that. Gem Six Nuts in Chicago, like in this Southern California, you got down like the Addis's family that they're like a staple, been a staple for generations of people in golf in Southern California, where we sit today.
So, John, I've always thought of you. Look, you were a white whale of mine when I was at Golf Now. Like, I was like, God, if we could get McNair, that would be amazing. But I think a lot of people hold you in high regard because of your business acumen. You've really kind of developed this relationship of, hey, I understand the P&L. I understand the importance of marketing. I mean, you really do have a pretty good grasp on the full thing. And I know you talk about that at different seminars. Like you don't shy away from that. I think that you embrace the idea of running the business of a golf course.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like being successful on the business side of it. It's like playing back in the day, right? That's your competition, right? That's your what'd you shoot today, right? Did you win or not win the golf tournament? And that's what I love about it. I love the challenge of the golf business and that. And yeah, I mean, for example, the Golf Now example, we talked many times. I never caved and went with Golf Now because I don't believe in giving up my tee sheet. I never did. Right? It's an easier way to do it. A lot of people do it because I think it's an easy way to quote unquote market your golf course. And I looked at I did the analysis. It costs you $73,000 per tee time. Well, I can do better by getting a point of sale system that's not Golf Now's and doing that. It's just, and that's 5 years
Sure.
ago. So it's over $100,000 at least for tee time today. So anyway, that's I pride myself on that, and that's what we focus on. And we're a big enough company because we're in the hotel business too. We've got the really strong HR, IT, accounting systems to back it up because we've got hotels as well. And but at the same time, we're smaller from the golf side with 21 courses where we're intimately involved with every golf course and what we're going to do. And we don't believe in a cookie cutter program like a lot of companies. Each course is different. We treat it differently, and we just try to drive as much revenue and profit as possible. Each one of those. So yeah, that's kind of, we're a little bit different.
And it seems like part of the strategy, almost like an in and out. It's geography, right? That you're not interested in setting up shop in New Jersey or something like that. You've got your geography. Frankly, you probably have every golfer possible in that database by now, but it seems like you have your geography. You know how golf works in that area, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah, we're mainly in California. We branched out. We've been working for a company in New Mexico forever. We're about to go into Arizona actually with a new course, but that's where we're strongest because of our database. We have a massive database. We'll put the numbers, but I don't look at database as a number. I look at it. When have you played one of our family of golf courses in the last 2 years? That's really a customer. You get over a million in Southern California, just in golfers and that.
Yeah.
But are you active with us? And did you interact and do a transaction with us in the last 2 years? But our big thing that we really delineate us is a program called the JC Players Card Program. It's where it's an affinity program where you have to buy in for at least 5 rounds of golf that you get part of the program, and then you get a discount rate the balance of the year. And we have over 24,000 people in that program in Southern California alone. So that kind of is a delineator. So if we go into a course in Southern California, we can drive business to it like, to be honest, nobody else can. And so it allows us to be successful in a very short period of time at golf courses we get involved with because of that database. There is, I've said there's no silver bullet in the golf business from a marketing standpoint. It takes a lot of work. You got to shoot a lot of BBs at it to hit your target. But this JC Players Card, what we focused on for the last 25 years has been as close to a silver bullet as you can get. So,
how many courses do you think you have to make a card like that work?
At a very minimum, at least 5 in a close-ish geographic region.
Yeah.
5 can work where, where you're within at least like me a 50. We go by not miles, but by the time it takes to drive in California, because, it's not like back in Chicago where you can drive there, 15 miles is 12 minutes. 15 miles could be an hour
Yeah. Yeah.
in our neck of the woods. But we want to be within a 15 to 20 minute ideal drive to each of the courses, so someone can have an opportunity to play multiple courses, and they know that whether it's course conditions they're going to get, they always know they're going to have what our course conditions are going to be, type of service, but they're going to be treated and felt more like a member than, it's a public access golf course, but you're going to be, treated like a member, so to speak. But more importantly, they're going to know exactly what they're getting at the course from the course conditions and the service level. And so, but I think you need at least 5, and I think they all have to be within, let's say 20, 25 minutes at the most within each other to really have to really grow a nucleus of that. Now, in the beginning, we started just in San Diego County, and now we're all the way up into San Bernardino and Riverside County, all the way through Southern California. So we've been out to the desert. So, that's.
So let me ask you, I mean, this might be tough, but like, let's say for, I don't know, some reason you decide to move to Dayton, Ohio, and you didn't own 5 golf courses, you owned 1.
Yeah.
How does your brain work? What do you think about, like, well, here's the first 2 things I would do if I was a single operator, and let's say even maybe in a non-destination market.
Yeah. So just take, Columbus, Ohio, pick a town out, right? Whatever. I think when you get your course, if you can get at least 2 that you might own, one, even again, just 1, partnering with, I would try to create my own card then and have the Columbus golf card, or what do you want to call it?
You would try to network other guys together. Okay.
Yeah. And when you do that, but someone's gonna have to run it, there's the whole accounting of it. So you have to get, at least probably 4 other operators to agree. Ideally, you have at least 2 to make that work. I would be the ideal scenario, at least 2 that you owned, and then maybe bring a couple, 3 others in. But here's why that program can be very beneficial to the golf course owner. It's really good during the good times because you're locking in or playing your family of golf courses. But what we've learned over the history of doing this is, especially since being the JC players, we've been through 3 recessions with it, including the Great Recession, 9/11, pandemic, all the things that, that life can throw at you. It's really good it's excellent during the bad times, because what happens is they're already locked into your course for at least a year. So let's say it's a bad economic year or a bad golf economic year, golf, its own, micro economy there. It allows them to stay involved and part of your family of golf courses during that time. So that by the time the golf recession, the recession kind of starts coming out of it, you're already building back up and you're in good shape, but it locks them into your family of golf courses, lets them know who you are. And then you can market to them directly. And if you ever have to do promotions outside of your typical discounting model, you can do it as a value to those members where you're not discounting to the complete general golf population of that market. You are targeting to your members where it doesn't feel like you're discounting, because you're giving that member a benefit of a, lesser rounded, let's say Tuesdays after 2:00 is your time. You're marketing the member and say, thank you for being a member. This is a special time for you only. We fill it with those, which adds value, loyalty at the same time. Doesn't let's say if you're discounting, an example, after 2:00 on a Tuesday, you're going to discount, typically let's say it's $80 for your first twilight. You're going to go to 60. I'm just an example out. You're doing that just that market, but to that member, you're giving them a value of $20 savings, but you're still keeping your rate to the public and to everybody else, non-members, at that $80. So you continue to have that perceived value, right? It's like, I bought this sweater for $80, right? Or it cost $80. I got it on sale for $60, and I got another one in red.
Yep.
Then I get one in white, and it's $60 each time. Now all of a sudden I go to $80 and I want it in navy. Well, wait a second. That perceived value of that shirt or that sweater is $60, not $80. And so it allows us to keep that $80 value in the marketplace.
Got it. We have one individual in Ohio that's doing that. That's a member of the association, Jonathan Palmer. And it's interesting, to your point, they have a couple of golf courses, right? They don't have one. And then they've invited a few other people in. His main place is called Mallard Creek, but yeah, very, very similar approach. You've been in the space. You've seen a lot of change in golf. You certainly have seen change across technology. You've actually been through a couple of peaks and valleys related to demand. I personally, we're in the middle of ranking every booking engine that's available in golf. So there's over 60 different booking engines available in golf. And I've been doing this for a few years, John. I have this business where we track the data set of golf courses. I know at every golf course what tech they use, what's their tee sheet, what's their point of sale, what's their member management. And then, as you can imagine, there are people in the world that are interested in that information. So we sell it as a subscription, right? Anyway, that has exposed me to just how many choices are out there. And I thought it would be interesting to hear from you, like, how can you make sense of 60 different companies offering tee time booking engine in golf? And I thought maybe you could share for us a little bit of like, what's the tech that you guys use to run JC Resorts?
Yeah, so we've used, it's great to have that tool. And what I've learned with point of sale systems is, we've been with Club Profits for 15 plus years, at least 15 at this point. What I've realized is nobody's perfect. There isn't one out there. They all have their blessings, their curses. And I've learned to over the years, well, we're close to having that, or we're going to have that next month. Seeing is believing is the only way I would do anything with point of sale systems, right? The Clubhouse has been great. When the Robshaws owned them, it was incredible. In fact, they're the one software company that, especially when they owned it, exceeded every expectation. They were incredible. A little bit different today. They're still very good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not quite as quick to have change or to have adjustments made.
I will say, it does seem like there's some challenges there right now. That they lost the Robert Trent Jones Trail, they lost Wilson Golf up in that kind of that Minnesota, Wisconsin area. I don't know. It seems like it's challenging there today.
I think that's the case because the Robshaws were so good in getting back to you, and they would listen to your concerns, and they would make a very quick change. And if they weren't able to change, they would be transparent and say, "Yeah, it's not going to happen," or "John, it's probably 3 years down the road." Then you just got it, right? But it was transparent. But really, they worked really well with us, and we weren't, to be transparent, we were an easy customer with our JC players to make all that work for our membership. We were very unique. I used to tip them and say, "Hey, you should be paying us because we're making you better."
The Gem 6 also left. Yeah.
So they're still good for us right now, for sure. But it's still boggles. The ideal scenario for me for a point of sale system would not only be able to do your point of sale, do your tee times, do all the things, do all the e-commerce, do bookings, go down that road. But also, ideally, would be if they could have some type of accounting software so that you're tied in, so it could become your P&L to really save on accounting costs. If somebody could ever figure that out, that would be the best system especially for a group like us, but I think even for every single operator, because you could do everything out of one spot, and that could be your end all be all. And you wouldn't have to have multiple systems. Plus, you could also have a dashboard that might be more accurate as to where your expenses are, to where your revenues are.
Right.
And not only for good months where you might want to spend a little bit more, but months where you're maybe not doing as well, when you need to cut and carve a little bit here and there. So, John, it'd be a great system if that could ever get figured out.
I got a secret for you. I think they call that Jonas.
Okay.
There's an individual up in Canada also building something called Club Unity, and he has decided to take on the accounting challenge. What's interesting about accounting, I mean, you're so smart, you're so perfect in what you just said right there. Once the operator does adopt that accounting level, and you can think of like IBS back in the day and that kind of
thing.
Boy, you are locked in as a vendor, right? It's really hard to then unseat the accounting platform that also happens to be the tee sheet and the point of sale. Well, if you can crack that nut, you've got a customer for a long, long time, I think.
Yeah. And I know because we had IBS before, and I eventually called it irritable bowel syndrome. But so it was it was frustrating. But anyway, so that's where we're at today. And it's I think there's great groups will adjust also with technology, right? What we have today is going to be the next gen. It's going to be AI is going to be incorporated. It's going to be the T-sheet bookings. How are you going to do that? And then different operators. For us there, again, we live and die by our JC players card at most all of our courses. So it's got to be able to have that centralized database, be able to make it seamless. Shifting to an app for us is a big part of that too. So every member can just take their phone, and use that app and have their bookings right there.
You guys are a Gallus customer, I think, right? You're a Gallus customer.
Right. Wow, you must do your homework. Yeah, that's
John,
exactly right. So
I don't do my homework. All I got to do is check my HubSpot, John. I've had this data for 3 years now.
okay, all right. So yeah, we're that's exactly right. So we've gone to that, and that's a game change for us for renewals because we're trying to get more. I hate to use our subscription model, but it's kind of be like that where all of a sudden you're in, and we're just gonna keep you in. We can auto renew your membership over and over to make it easy for the customer, but also easier for us, accounting, signups, and then we can market to those individuals as well. So
yeah. Right. So when you guys look at like the last 3 years, let's say, what is the difference maker now? Because I mean, look, I think nobody wants to take for granted how great it's been for, say, at least 5 years. But you do start to wonder, like, we are going to kind of get used to this level of demand. And I'm actually starting to think more in the future about, well, then how do you take another step forward? And I'm curious what you guys are thinking about related to that. What do you think you do next that elevates the brand and ultimately the P&L even more?
yeah, well, I'm going to start with something outside technology for just one moment. What we've really done, particularly the last 3 to 4 years, at all of our golfers, we are putting as much money back in is reasonable to the property to make the asset great, whether it's bunker renovation, leveling tee boxes, clubhouse improvements, and you name it, A to Z. Because I've been around long enough to know there will be another, there'll be another recession for sure in the economy. There'll be at some point there's going to be a little wave in this. We haven't seen it, knock on wood, but in fact ours has continued to grow. Not only rate at a crazy rate at 6-7% each year, plus growing rounds. But I've been around long enough to know that someday that's going to wean a little bit, more than likely. But we're getting ready for that from a physical plant standpoint, getting the operations and golf course maintenance there. But I think the next wave, what we're seeing is from a technology base is, again, I mentioned AI. I don't think that's been fully vetted what that's really going to look like yet. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, but there's some unique things that could be happening. We've all heard about it at different seminars. But for us, what we've really had some success with in the last year and a half, year or so, has been prepaid tee times in particular. One of our courses, I'll give a specific example for you. Encinitas Ranch Golf Course. One of our courses, we built it 26 years ago. Huge successful course, does 80,000 rounds at a rate of $80. So it does very, very well. Average $80. So weekends it's $120 and from there. But we went to prepaid we have residents there, and then we have our JC Players card. But prior to that, for 60 to the 9-day window before, we do a prepaid tee time, only 1 hour because the demand's there for it. But we're now requiring, if you want that, you have to pay rack rate plus $25. But here's the biggest part for us is you have to pay a foursome. And the reason I like that so much is it allows us to have that guaranteed foursome, because it is, somebody comes in, hey, my buddy, he, hungover, couldn't go here today. Can we not charge him? And a lot of times first at the counter caved, right? It's not easy conversation. Or husband and wife books, they book it for 4. They never intentionally book it for 4. It's really going to be 2. And they show it 2. And so the other couple couldn't make it. They were never going to be that. So,
amen.
And then they caved. And so the prepaid, whether it's in advance or just, we're looking, well, let me finish on this part. So what's happened is our average public rate at that course, first year we did it, went up $28 a round.
Wow.
$20 a round. But more importantly, our foursome value for that per round, average round, went up by over $200, about $210 per foursome, or per tee time. I mean, per tee time. Because before it might have been a threesome. It doesn't show, right? So we're making $200 more per tee time.
Yeah,
based on doing that.
You're like crushing the RevPATT, really, is what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. So that's exactly it. So
you mentioned in there 1 an hour. Why only?
If I do more than that, it's a city.
Okay.
Not exactly city on course, but city involved course, we'll say. They have say. If I do that, I'll have pitchforks at the golf course because they can't get their tee times.
Got it. It proves to you what you can do, and then maybe you go apply it to your other 20 golf courses or what have you, right? At least that's an interesting experiment you kind of got to run there.
And that's exactly right. So I know that's where we can do the highest, not only there again, rack rate. So typically a resident might pay, let's say on a Saturday, might pay $85, and we're going to be charging 125 plus another 25. So you're getting 150. Plus then again, you're getting your guaranteed foursome.
Right.
So that's been really good. We've worked with a group called Golf District to do that. And they've been excellent.
I was going to ask you, did Club Profit?
No, that's not Club Profit.
Do
No,
that?
no. No, it's called Golf District. They've been a great partner. We've been involved with them. We've launched it 4 other golf courses. There again, we can't do the rack at all, or rack plus 25. Some are just at rack, depending on the course. Each one's different. There again, we don't cookie cutter. It's also different when it's involved with the city or not. Most of our courses are not cities.
Yeah.
So it's where we can drive revenue on that for that owner. We have to protect our JC players members because they have the rights. But for earlier bookings, if you want that, you got to pay for the foursome. If you want the best times and you have to do it, and you got family in town, or you got a special day, it's your birthday, and you want to play and you want to guarantee getting a spot, you can do it. We're just going to guarantee your foursome.
Right.
And that way, it's fair to the golf course too. If you look at it, the way I look at it anyway, is you were committing to a foursome when you booked that time, and now we're just requiring you to commit to that with your wallet, not just what you said you were going to do, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's where prepaid's really good. That's where the Golf District software is incredible to help us do that.
I think for what it's worth, I know Golf District, we're in the middle of a booking engine like ranking that we're going to print. We're going to,
yeah.
I mean, there are some features in that booking engine I just have not seen elsewhere. If you want to book 7 players, with back-to-back tee times, you can do it with that booking engine. I think a lot of people know when they first came to market, everybody thought it was about like reselling your tee time.
Yeah.
And so obviously that tech exists, but when you lean into that engine a little bit more, you find a lot of bells and whistles. I mean, look, there's a weather guarantee in that thing that is very interesting to me, because if you ever get somebody to explain it to you, you realize there's a scenario where the golfer gets to play golf, the owner gets paid for the tee time, and the golfer gets his money back for the golf because it rained a little bit. That's kind of amazing to me that exists.
It is. That's what I liked about what they build. They've just gotten better I feel like every couple months there's something new coming out they've done to make it better for the operator, also the customer though, to a degree. And so we got in originally that way too, about the resale side of things, and that's why we really like it there from the guarantee standpoint, because they're not going to the kid at the counter or the golf professional at the counter. They have they're going to the Golf District to resell that time.
Yeah.
But that's how we got in. Which was an amazing feature, right? That's why I loved it. And that's how we could do the foursome guaranteed. And then they go to another level, and then it's the prepaid. We can do the whole prepaid and do that, where you're guaranteeing that in advance, getting paid in advance. I mean, people are booking 60 days out. We got our money in the bank already, at Rack Plus, right?
Right.
For the foursome. And
right.
So that's really where I think Golf District's value is even getting better now, is in the fact that it's the prepaid side of things. And I think, you asked about the trends where, I'll paraphrase it for you, but what's the next thing? And I think that's really where it's at. Systems like that can do the prepay to guarantee the revenue for the golf course, which is best for the golf course. But at the same time, it's getting commitment out of the golfer. We had one course of ours that was having, it's not far from Los Angeles, and they were having people just book tee times where foursome might, hey, you're all trying to get your best tee time. Massive cancellations. Well, we went to something similar to there where you had to do the prepay, and I can tell you, our bookings and cancellations dropped by 75%. People are just kicking the tires, right? And that's the golfer that's going to, if 4 of us book it, and I get busy after I do that, I forgot to cancel my tee time. Then we're eating that tee time. We're eating a portion of it. It was just a booking fee. I'd much rather have the golfer. And so that's why it's been critical for us there, again, using Golf District to do that, to get that prepaid, to allow the tire kickers on the times where 4 guys or gals are just trying to get their best time. And they forget it's that the golf course. It's not after the golf course, and they're being kind of disingenuous to the golf course by doing it. But there again, the Golf District software has allowed us to combat that and not.
So we noticed that you guys use Gallus. We know that you use Club Profit. You mentioned Golf District. We also saw that you guys recently brought on Notify. So you do have a lot of tech that is like the golfer facing tech. And I'm curious as to how you manage all that, how you make sure everything plays well together and ultimately is giving a great experience to the golfer.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. Looking from the operator perspective first is, what's nice thing there again, golf districts getting more and more of that technology in one, so we can use that. But we do use others, and then we're trying to do is white label as much as possible on whether it's Notify or Golf District. It's white labeled our website, so it doesn't look that way until the customer clicks deep in there. Powered by Golf District, for example. So, that's where it's at. That's why if we could ever have one system that could do it all, it'd be great. So under one umbrella, right? So, but it's not here today. So we do our best to do that and white label it so it looks as seamless as possible. The customer number one, and then also for us on the back end.
So, John, one of the services that my little company, my SMB Golf, provides to golf courses is we go and update what's called schema scripts on the back end of every website page to help the AI engines understand the business better. There's a certain way you write some schema code, and that's the code that these AI engines seem to prefer to read. And I'm just curious, because you mentioned AI earlier, how do you, whether it's you, John McNair, or JC Resorts, how are you guys thinking about AI and what you'll do with that in the coming months or coming years?
Yeah, I think the technology will be ever changing, right? So you got to not only look where you are today, but where is it going to be? A lot of it's a crystal ball for all of us, right? It's new to us. I think the thing where it's at right now is the booking engines. That's where we've really got to pay close attention to it, because that can have it. It's not theoretically. You can definitely see then if it's ringing the cash register or not. So that's what we're looking at from a booking engine. Who can help you? Who can drive as much revenue to your website, your T sheet as possible, opposed to others. And so that's where I see it's at. We're already there with phones. Phones is already
For sure.
in the mix, right? And it'll be interesting to see what's happening next, and and how will the booking process is going to be looking a year to 2 years from now. I think it's going to look a lot different than it is today due to AI.
Yeah, I think so too. Since you are Club Profit, are you a price swing customer? Do you guys do any dynamic pricing?
We do dynamic pricing through Club Profits, but funny you mentioned we've just been talking about doing, there again, another vendor in there, price swing in there in that mix to elevate it up. But right now we do it with Club Profits. It's been pretty good, but we think we might have to go another level with it to maximize every dollar out of it.
Right.
And for the next AI.
You're using some Club Profit kind of organic dynamic pricing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, so here's one for you that's related to AI, but it's different. Where are you on autonomous mowing? And I'll give you some background. Inverness, so Ohio, right? Inverness just got the men's US Open. It's a couple decades from now, but they were awarded the men's US Open for 2045. Next year, they host the US Women's Open at Inverness. And I just hosted a big conference in Ohio, and their superintendent was on stage talking about autonomous mowers. And I was shocked at how much Inverness is using autonomous mowers today. And so now it's like one of these questions I've started to ask a lot of multi-course owners. Hey, like, are you doing this too? Like, maybe this is a bigger thing than I once thought, but I am curious to hear from you where you guys are with autonomous mowing.
Very bullish on it. We already have it at 4 of our golf courses. There's 4 more coming on board in the next 4 months that are getting them. And there again, it's not, you have to have a lot of them to really replace the humans on there. But what we like is you can get ahead of play earlier in the morning, which allows then your maintenance crew to get farther ahead before they have to stop for golfers, to start from efficiency and labor efficiency standpoint. The starting and stopping on the agronomic crew, the maintenance crew, is the killer, right? That's how your productivity goes down drastically. So we're trying to do it in the first few holes at least to get ahead. So instead of starting on number 1 for mowing fairways, they're starting on 4 or 5. And that's where our roughs the same way. They can get ahead of play, so they don't have to do the start and stop all afternoon like most golf teams do, because eventually they catch play. And so that's what we're doing. Or we can maybe start a little bit earlier because of it, get one more tee time, all those little things like that, whether it's on the try to drive more revenue off of it, or from a labor efficiency standpoint.
It was, and this doesn't really apply to Southern California very much, but I was surprised to hear how much they use them in the rain. They're not heavy, and so they're not going to create tire ruts in the rough or anything like that. But they absolutely are built to work in the rain. And so when you start to hear a very accomplished superintendent talk about how he just sees the maintenance of his course differently than he did 3 years ago, we had another superintendent that has a course that's in a housing development. And he said he thinks maybe the biggest benefit that they have seen is no one calls to complain about the noise anymore of mowing the grass. And so there's just these things that you wouldn't think of right out of the box. And you start to say, my goodness, that is going to like, that's how you're going to mow a golf course in 3 or 4 years. That's it. They're all going to be autonomous.
I think they will. I don't know about, well, I don't know about all, but definitely no question on roughs, fairways, and that. And I think we've had the same experience with some of our home, courses have got homes up against them. Much better. We're actually doing that on holes that even like the worst people that voice their opinion about the noise. We're definitely using at those holes. But the cut's really good. The key what I was worried about is superintendents a lot of times they're resistant to change, and they've really embraced it, which has been good, because usually when you have a change like that, they're tougher. They're last to really want to do that, and so it's been great. They're all bullish on it because the cut's really good. It's very, very good. So we're bullish on it. Continue to do it. We believe in every area right now except greens. I would just still your greens. You live and die by your greens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have good greens, you have nothing, and so you have to have great greens. And so, who knows? Someday maybe we're doing our greens that way, but I still don't think that's the case yet. Because if that gets screwed up, it's a big, big problem.
Yeah.
So,
but if you think about the rate of advancement in these things, right? At least I'm in this bucket of saying, well, then within 3 years, they'll have perfect greens coming out of these. That's what I think. I think that they will figure all of that out.
They could. Right now, it's not.
Right.
I'm saying, as I'm going what we are today. Right today, I have not. I've tested. I've seen it. I do not feel comfortable doing our greens. Everything else, I'm 100%. Well, we're doing it. We've been doing it for a year and a half or more now. So it's something. So we're bullish. We're going, like I said, 4 more. We'll have 10 by the end of this year on that system. So it's and by 27, every one of our golf courses will have an autonomous mower. There's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, not the whole fleet, but enough to get through the first few holes at least. And then the other one we're really researching is the autonomous pickers. They're more, mowers came out first. So we're in this, like the second generation of the mowers now. We didn't want to be first gen on that because we worried about that. But second gen, we're there, close to getting third. Probably fourth gen will be where greens get perfected, where you're going. But range picking, it's getting there now. We've had huge progress in the last 6 months on that, but that's more still, I would consider still almost first gen, bucking into second gen. And we're ready to start making a move on those as well. Our ranges do massive volumes. So we need more of the ones that can either pull or push a 3+ gang unit.
Right.
Ones that are more the Roomba kind that can do a little, pick up 200 balls and drop it. I need eight of them out there to do that, right?
Yeah.
Our ranges, they're busy, right? We have some ranges that do almost $2 million in revenue alone. So we've got to have, we believe in the bigger gang units, again, from efficiency, cost savings, from a cost standpoint to the number of balls it picks up per hour, how many you need. That's where we're bullish on that. But that's the next gen. And the nice thing is, the other advantage with that is there'll be less downtime. So you can pick it all night, you can mow it first thing in the morning. There's no clean pick, or there's even one company currently that has it where you can do the range ball picking, and you can do a mower attachment behind it.
I saw it
after it.
Yeah.
So we're all in, especially in Southern California, right? We're open 365 days a year. Both of them are lighter, which you mentioned. We had a course from a range standpoint, be able to put the autonomous mowers out opposed to our other mowers.
Yep.
We had some serious rainstorms like the next day when we could have never put our 5-gang rough mowers out there, or fairway mowers, because it just wouldn't have worked. So you're spot on with that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk a little bit about the PGA of America. We couple small little, well, I shouldn't say small, couple leadership changes, but I'm more interested in what do you think the future looks like for the PGA of America?
I still think it's great, right? You've got 30,000 men and women that love the game of golf, love to teach, promote the game of golf, are the face of so many of our operations, right, throughout the country. In addition, that get people in the game, their first junior golf lesson or first junior clinic ran by a PGA golf professional. So I think it's still very, very strong. Things are good. The PGA's championship is still excellent. some issues last time, but I think all in all, it's still the greatest team championship in golf. Nothing even compares to it. It's just such an incredible event. I've had the privilege of going to 3 of them in my life, and they are. I mean, there's nothing like it to see the excitement in golf
For sure.
when you're like,
And
right?
and the TV is absolutely gripping, from a fan perspective, I don't know how there's anything wrong with the Ryder Cup. So I'm
Yeah,
very bullish on all of those championships, frankly.
yeah, and I think there's still so many great things, right? PG Hope, which has been been around for about a decade now, but really been a focus for the last 5 years. What's as it says, that system or that program is one of the true programs in golf. It doesn't just change their golf game; it changes their lives. And
Yes.
seen so many testimonials on that, and talk to veterans that it really just it saved their life. They had all sorts of bad thoughts going, and it just changed. It gave them a purpose, gave them a reason to get out of bed, get out of the house, and go do something outside and something they enjoy.
Yeah.
And so there's things like that that have been really, really amazing. So PGA still does just so many great things, and they're the ones who get people in the game and keep them in the game through golf lessons. And I've read the stats over the years. I'm sure you've seen it too. It's about like 22. A golfer that's taking lessons spends 22% more in golf than they would any other time. And so that's from an operator standpoint, we want that, right? We need more
Right.
and more of that. We need it not only to keep them in the funnel of golf courses or coming to play golf, but also from the start of the funnel to get them into the game of golf. So PGA professionals, what they're doing is still a big part of that. Golf's hard, right? Golf's not an easy sport. You need somebody in the early years to take you under your wing, to teach you how to do it, teach the etiquette, teach you all the right things about it, but also teach you how to get the ball airborne. And so that's why I think PGA golf professionals still just do a great job of that.
I am curious, one, because I tried to sell things to you, and I always try to circle back with people and say, in your mind, what's the best way for someone to approach somebody that sits in a seat like you sit in? Like you're really a golf executive, you're very busy, lots and lots of locations. What's the best way for someone to approach you?
Yeah. Well, that's nice you say that, Mike. And for the viewers out there, just let you know, I never bought from Mike.
That's right.
So I'm surprised you wanted me on your podcast. But anyway, anyway, all kidding aside, I think it's 2 things what we've learned in not only technology, but in the space. Number one, how's it going to make my business better from a financial standpoint and or the customer, right? What is it like the autonomous mowers, right? In the beginning, I didn't think the efficiency was there. They weren't first gen. We waited till second gen. We're going to probably get the end of first gen to second gen of the autonomous pickers, which we're starting now. We just bought our first one. But to answer your question, something that's going to make our business more efficient, more profitable, and also we look at technology. Not only is your company poised not to just do something good for us today, but if there's going to be a change in the system through technology, are you ready to be ahead of whatever the next is?
Mhm.
AI is it right now, the next it, but there's going to be some form or fashion of AI or whatever the next AI is. Are you on the cutting edge of that? So if we buy today, you might have been first in, but you don't change your technology. That's not something we want either. We want the company that's going to be um, changing with the times, because the times are going to change rapidly,
Yeah.
particularly with AI. So that's kind of it that can do a return on investment. And also, I think for us, we talked about jokingly about not ever selling with golf now is something that's going to allow us still to be able to control our own destiny. We want to be able to do that, right? So we believe it would have been easy to go with golf now and just put the system in and don't have to worry about my quote unquote marketing, right?
Right.
We work hard. We work hard on our database, and we work hard to get every golfer's name and add email address. We worked hard to get 24,000 people in Southern California our program. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. It'll unfortunately that means I don't play much golf anymore. But it's the best for the business. And so to be able to control our own destiny, there again, not so much for the good times like we're all having now, but we like to be poised, and we're always thinking, what do we need prepared to be when the next little ripple comes into effect or
Right.
comes into the economy, and how are we ready for that, and how can we make sure that we maintain market share and rate during those periods of time?
What's like one or maybe 2 things you see lots and lots of operators do, like in the thousands, that you disagree with, that you would not do that, and you have a reason that you believe counter to maybe so many in the herd doing it?
Yeah, I think the easiest one I've been preaching this is, well, you've heard me say for what 15 plus years is giving up your tee sheet to like Golf Now, becoming a commodity on their website. Because if it is, when a course, for example, if someone's got a golf, put yourself in the shoes of a golfer for a minute. You go online and you live in a certain area. Let's take up San Diego County. You click on this area, this part you want to be. Golf, you're clicking on, it shows 5 courses. It's not a value, it's about the price. And what they really do is Golf Now is they're looking at what's the best, how can they sell their tee times first, right? And then what's best for that. So everybody's just looking to grab a little chunk, and they're looking at price rather than what the experience is. And it's just I call it a commodity. You're becoming a commodity of a round of golf. You're not going to a golf course or special experience or how their greens, all those other kind of, how's their course conditions, service, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's where I just can't believe that people give up that number one ability to sell in there. And also then, but more important than that, over time, that's the short term. The long term, where I really disagree with, now you're training your customer that might have came to your course to go to their website, not your site.
Yeah.
So what happens is during good times, you might get away with it. During bad times, you're toast, because one of those 5 courses during a bad time are going to discount.
Yes.
And what's going to happen is that customer is going to go, they must be all in the same par, so to speak, or value of golf. This one's $15 people. I'm going to go here today. And so the course that needs the business the most is dropping their price and not looking at it from rate integrity standpoint, just trying to get $1 in today. They're going there. And now that person, if they're a good operator, they got a chance to grab that person's data. But you're training the customer to go not to your website, which you lose full control. And that's what I mean by the control. You lose control of the customer, where their habits, where they're going to go. And most importantly, you just became a commodity. Oh, and by the way, if you would have sold that tee time, the trade time, I don't believe in trade times either. You're not getting a free point of sale system. You're not getting a free on their website. No. You are absolutely positively losing money out on that. And there again, it's over $100,000, depends on your rate, over $100,000 per year per tee time. A point of sale system is a lot cheaper than that. And I can tell you, your website's cheaper than that. And there again, but then all that being said, just from a bad business, just in that way, and the money, you really train your customer. You could lose customers every single day going to Golf Now and or someone else's courses if they go there and like that other course.
Yeah. I have a couple thoughts on that. One, I used to work with a guy at Golf Now named Brian O'Hare, and he had a great line. He said, talking about us as Golf Now, he said, we just introduce golfers to golf courses. And it was an easy way to kind of say, like, that's all we're here to do, right? But so many, 80% of the golf courses actually didn't do a lot with the introduction. They didn't capture the golfer information when they were in the golf shop. They didn't deploy a strategy to then move that golfer from the Golf Now platform over to their business. And so, they had the opportunity to do it. They could have, they just didn't. Nowadays, especially in that Southwest part of America, where Golf Now has been, historically very, very strong, we're seeing more and more operators deploy real transition strategies. I think of this guy, Martin Ort at Desert Canyon in Arizona. He knew a year before he left Golf Now that he was leaving, and he had a real plan for 3 months out, we're doing this with the golfer. 4 months out, we're doing this with the golfer. He had a transition plan in place that got him to where when the day he flipped the switch off, he really didn't feel it. Because he had really deployed a strategy. And I'm interested to see if there aren't more courses now that say, yeah, we're going to be smart about this. And because to me, John, the golf economy does not support that business plan anymore. Now the owner is the one with the power in the relationship, because the owner enjoys golfer demand. And so the owner really can dictate terms to any aggregator, as far as I'm concerned right now. But of course, some people, you kind of get in a, I've been doing it this way for 10 years, so I'm going to keep doing it this way for 10 years kind of thing. But there clearly is an opportunity right now for the owner to really maximize the leverage that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very smart operator that thought through a transition plan. And that's for the other thing, Golf Now they have their new, I don't know the name of it, but their premier courses where you have to pay another tee time to be in their marketing to be top of mind, right? And so that's the other thing with it too, is now you're letting that vendor, Golf Now, dictate your business model. And if you want to be competitive in your market now, you have to give them another tee time.
Yeah.
So that's really the danger part of it. But the operator of that golf course, he or she was very wise to plan through that, put a plan together. There again, but what he's really, I think you said is he's capturing his customer back.
Yeah.
So he's getting their information back rather than giving it out. And that's really the difference, right? He did what he should never went down that road to begin with, but since he did, he actually got that customer back, which is very wise. So he can go run his golf course and not be depending on somebody else.
Agreed.
So,
yeah.
Because all these customers that are hooked now, they're hooked on the crack of golf now. Unless you're innovative like that, or you're willing to work hard, you get stuck.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people aren't willing to work that hard or aren't willing to innovate like that to get that customer back. But that's the key to success for that if you're going to transition out.
Right. Well, listen, I really have enjoyed you coming on. To me, there's just a handful of guys in the country like you that have really kind of demonstrated their ability to build a real business. You know what you know, and you believe what you believe. And I think people are attracted to that. You know what I mean? And so I do. You've given value to our viewer just by being on. So I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Well, Mike, thanks a lot. Thanks for all you do for golf, the technology space. I know you are one of those people always looking what is the next thing and what's coming. So appreciate that. Always love talking and learning from you. So much appreciated, Mike.
Okay, John, thanks a lot. That's John McNair, everybody. JC Resorts. And this was the Tech Caddie Podcast.